Every single year, more than 300 million people visit America's national parks. And every single year, thousands of those visitors find themselves in serious trouble. Lost on unmarked trails, face to face with a grizzly bear, trapped by a flash flood, or stranded overnight without gear in freezing temperatures. The wilderness is breathtakingly beautiful, but it is also profoundly indifferent to your safety. The good news is that the vast majority of emergencies in national parks are survivable if you know what to do. So, today, we are going to walk through the survival skills that matter most when things go wrong in America's wild places. Let's start with what survival experts consider the single most important skill in any wilderness emergency, and it might surprise you. It is not fire-making. It is not navigation. It is staying calm. Think of your brain like a smartphone. When you panic, it is like opening every app at once. The battery drains, the processor overheats, and nothing works properly. Panic floods your body with adrenaline and cortisol, which are great if you need to sprint away from an immediate threat, but terrible for the kind of clear, methodical thinking that wilderness survival demands. Search and rescue teams have found people who died of exposure just a few hundred yards from a road, not because they lacked the physical ability to walk there, but because panic scrambled their decision-making so badly they wandered in circles. So how do you stay calm when you realize you are lost, injured, or in danger? There is a simple framework that rescue professionals teach, and it goes by the acronym STOP. S. Sit down. T. Think about your situation. O. Observe your surroundings, your resources, and your condition. P. Plan your next move. Just the act of sitting down and breathing for 2 minutes can pull your nervous system out of fight or flight mode and back into rational thought. Before you do anything else in a survival situation, you stop. You breathe. You think. Everything that follows depends on this. Now, once your mind is clear, your first physical priority is almost always shelter. Most people think water or food should come first, but here's the reality. In extreme conditions, exposure to cold, wind, rain, or even intense sun can incapacitate you in as little as 3 hours. You can survive 3 days without water and 3 weeks without food, but 3 hours of hypothermia or severe heat exposure can end everything. That 3-3-3 rule is your survival hierarchy. In national parks, shelter options vary wildly depending on where you are. In a forest like those in Great Smoky Mountains or Olympic National Park, fallen trees and dense evergreen branches can be arranged into a simple lean-to shelter. You find a solid support, like a fallen log or a low branch, and you stack smaller branches against it at an angle, then layer leaves, pine needles, or bark on top to create insulation and a windbreak. Think of it like building a cocoon. You want the smallest space possible that you can fit into because your body heat is your furnace, and a smaller room is easier to heat than a cathedral. In desert parks like Joshua Tree or Death Valley, shelter takes on a completely different meaning. The sun is your primary enemy during the day, and the plummeting temperatures become your enemy at night. Finding shade, even if it means crawling under a rock overhang or draping a jacket over a bush, can lower the ambient temperature around you by 20 or 30 degrees. At night, the desert floor radiates the day's heat for a while, so lying near large rocks that absorb sunlight can actually provide warmth. In alpine environments like those in Rocky Mountain or Glacier National Park, wind is often the most dangerous factor. Getting below the ridgeline, finding a natural depression, or even digging into a snowbank can protect you from wind chill that might be 30 or 40 degrees colder than the actual air temperature. Snow, counterintuitively, is an excellent insulator. The inside of a well-built snow shelter can hover around 32 degrees Fahrenheit, even when the outside air is well below zero. Next, let's talk about something that captures the imagination, but also generates a lot of dangerous misinformation: wildlife encounters. America's national parks are home to grizzly bears, black bears, mountain lions, venomous snakes, bison, moose, and alligators, depending on which park you visit. And the rules for dealing with each of these animals are very different. Treating a grizzly bear encounter the same way you would treat a black bear encounter could get you killed. With grizzly bears, the general guidance is to make yourself known from a distance. Talk loudly, clap your hands, and give the bear every opportunity to avoid you, because that is what it wants to do. If a grizzly charges, stand your ground. Many charges are bluffs, and running triggers a chase instinct you will not win. If a grizzly makes contact, play dead. Lie flat on your stomach, spread your legs so it cannot flip you over, and protect your neck with your hands. Grizzlies are usually defending territory or cubs, and once they believe the threat is neutralized, they typically leave. Black bears are a different story. If a black bear approaches you aggressively, do not play dead. Fight back. Make yourself as large and loud as possible. Black bear attacks, though rare, are more often predatory in nature, meaning the bear sees you as food, and playing dead only makes its job easier. For both species, bear spray is statistically more effective than firearms at preventing injury during a bear encounter. It works over 90% of the time when deployed correctly, which means having it accessible on your belt or chest strap, not buried in your backpack. Moose and bison, meanwhile, injure more people in national parks than bears do. People underestimate them because they look like large, docile livestock. They are not. A bull bison can weigh 2,000 pounds and run 35 miles per hour. The rule with both animals is distance. Maintain at least 25 yards from bison, and much more from moose, especially cows with calves in spring. If either animal charges, get behind something solid, a tree, a large rock, a vehicle, and do not try to outrun them in the open. If you are finding this information valuable, and you want to keep learning how to make the most of your national park experiences while staying safe, take a second right now to hit that like button and subscribe to National Park Secrets. We bring you essential guides, hidden gems, and the kind of knowledge that transforms a good park visit into an unforgettable one. Now, let's move on to water. Water is life, but in the wilderness, water can also be danger. Every stream, lake, and river in America's national parks should be considered potentially contaminated with bacteria, parasites, and viruses. Giardia, Cryptosporidium, and other waterborne pathogens are invisible, odorless, and tasteless. Crystal clear mountain streams can be just as contaminated as murky ponds. If you must drink from a natural water source, you need to purify it. Boiling is the gold standard. A rolling boil for 1 minute or 3 minutes above 6,500 feet of elevation will kill virtually everything harmful. If you cannot boil water, filtration through a portable pump filter or a squeeze filter rated for bacteria and protozoa is your next best option. Chemical treatments like iodine tablets work too, but require wait time and do not eliminate Cryptosporidium effectively. Equally important is knowing where to find water. In canyon environments, look for seeps along rock walls, especially at the base of sandstone layers where water hits impermeable rock and is forced to the surface. In forests, follow animal trails downhill, as they often lead to water sources. Listen for the sound of flowing water, which carries surprisingly far in quiet wilderness. And remember that morning dew collected on clothing or bandanas can provide small but meaningful amounts of moisture in an emergency. Flash floods are another water-related danger that catches visitors off guard, particularly in parks like Zion, Capitol Reef, and Big Bend. A storm miles away can send a wall of water through a narrow canyon with almost no warning. The sky directly above you might be perfectly clear. If you are in a slot canyon or narrow drainage, and you notice the water becoming muddy, rising even slightly, or you hear a distant roar, get to high ground immediately. Do not wait to confirm. There is no such thing as overreacting to a potential flash flood. The next critical skill is emergency signaling. If you are lost or injured and need rescue, your job shifts from traveling to being found. The universal distress signal is 3 of anything. 3 whistle blasts, 3 fires arranged in a triangle, 3 piles of rocks in a line. Searchers know to look for patterns of 3 because nature rarely produces them. A simple whistle weighs almost nothing and can be heard far beyond the range of a human voice, especially when you are weakened by dehydration or injury. It should be on your person on every single hike. A signal mirror, or even a phone screen used as a reflective surface, can be seen from miles away in sunny conditions. At night, a headlamp or flashlight can serve the same purpose. If you are in an open area, create ground-to-air signals using rocks, logs, or trampled vegetation to spell SOS, or create large geometric shapes that contrast with the surrounding terrain. Search aircraft are looking for things that do not belong in the natural landscape. Finally, and perhaps most importantly, let's talk about preparation. The best survival skill is never needing to use your survival skills. The 10 essentials are a concept that dates back to the 1930s, and they remain as relevant today as ever. Navigation tools, sun protection, insulation beyond what you think you will need, illumination, first aid supplies, fire starting materials, a repair kit and tools, nutrition beyond your planned meals, hydration beyond your planned needs, and emergency shelter like a space blanket or bivy sack. Every single one of these items has saved lives in national parks. Beyond gear, preparation means telling someone your detailed plans, where you're going, which trail, which direction, and when you expect to return. It means checking weather forecasts, not just for the trailhead, but for the elevations and regions you will pass through. It means being honest about your fitness level and experience, and choosing routes accordingly. It means knowing when to turn back, which is often the hardest and most important decision in the backcountry. America's national parks are among the most magnificent landscapes on Earth. They offer experiences that no city, no screen, and no simulation can replicate. But they are wild places, governed by forces far more powerful than any of us. Respecting that wildness, preparing for it, and knowing how to respond when it tests you, that is what separates a great adventure from a tragedy. If you want to keep exploring America's national parks with confidence and knowledge, subscribe to National Park Secrets right now and hit that notification bell so you never miss a new video. Give this video a like if it taught you something valuable, and share it with anyone you know who is heading out into the parks. The wilderness does not forgive ignorance, but it generously rewards those who come prepared. Stay safe out there, and we will see you in the next one.